because we're, this is all CIA reporting stuff, I always like to drop, like, a little hint as to, like, who I really am in the thing, right? Like, if I was to start waxing eloquent about Daffy Duck, somebody in the world would know who I was. If I was to start singing certain songs that I want to sing all the time, somebody would know who I was. If I was to talk in a British accent for too long, somebody would know who I was. Mm-hmm. But that somebody is like a couple of people.
Right.
It's 10 people in the world.
So they'd have to actually listen.
So they'd have to listen carefully.
And, yeah.
And that's what's funny to me about it, is that it's just dropping hints, dropping coded hints for somebody who doesn't listen. There's a worse one that I heard recently too. It's like, not whatever worse, like stupider. I'll say that. Thing where like there's this pill that you can take for like, it's like lupus, and it has a couple of other uses that it can also cause miscarriages, and that is being restricted. And it's like that's not even for. That's not what you need.
It's a medication that people need for other things.
Yeah. And so it's like so yeah. So how about that fucking killing Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas? How about it? How about up the Supreme Court building? How about it? Like, how about doing that in whatever your place is? Who's doing this shit, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I swear to fucking God, I swear, mark my fucking words about this. I will actually put this out there. If my fucking wife dies on some fucking bullshit because of some fucking anti-abortion fuckers, people are going to die. It's not going to just be her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. And I zero them when the time comes to just go with your emotions. But anyways,
like this. All right, so Saudi Arabia is the 1A example. Okay?
Oh yeah, Biden just met with MBS. Did you hear about that?
Yes, and
the fist bump seen around the world.
Oh my God, what a fucking ugh. Yeah. Like okay, so whatever. America cares about press freedom, right? This is a thing that people keep saying,
yeah,
right? Except that we're still actively pursuing Julian Assange, and MBS killed a Washington Post journalist, a guy that was close with the Saudi royal family too. That's the other thing that fucking nobody says about that guy, is that Jamal Khashoggi was a fucking, was a plant. Like, he wasn't even a fucking, he wasn't even saying like the Saudi government's bad and we should eradicate them or anything like that. Like, he was legit like one of those nuanced fucking Ezra Klein guys. And they chopped him into little pieces, and so it's like, so you could throw that out the window. Okay, that doesn't exist. Press freedom is to the extent of how small and insignificant you can make yourself.
Well, then there's the journalist that was killed in Israel. Israel-Palestine conflict.
Fucking Shireen something.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she was famous in the Arab world, and American citizen.
Some fucking 16-year-old fucking IDF asshole shot her. Like, that's what I'm saying. Israel is enough to say that America is fascist. The existence of Israel, the further giving them any money at all for anything is enough to say that America is fascist, because what Israel is doing to Palestinians is 100% fascist. It's all the fascist stuff. The stamping out of Palestinian culture, killing their babies, putting them in open-air prisons, camps, you might call them. Like, concentrating them in camps.
Different classes of citizenship.
Yes, all that shit. It's like, we are...
Right, but
or I have fucking another stroke.
Well, yeah. Well, hang on. I get where you're coming from with all that stuff, but I somewhat agree with that. I agree that the liberal imperialist kind of authoritarianism, or whatever you want to call it, that we've been living under for the past 50 years, the neoliberal establishment, all that shit, is yes, it's very close to fascism. I mean, if you go back in history, who was Hitler influenced by? The United States and England. That's the British Empire, and how we treated the Native Americans, and how we treated black people after slavery was abolished. All those things influenced Hitler. So I agree with you that there are many threads that are similar between this liberalism and the fascism. But fascism is definitely a very particular extreme version of that.
Yes.
And I think we are getting to the point where we're close to passing the threshold.
Well, no, we are on the fascist checklist. I've seen this. You can go on the internet and just Google fascist checklist.
Talking about the fascism kind of list.
There's literally, it's just, I think Robert O. Paxson, I have the fucking book right there, made a list. It's a numbered list.
Yeah.
Right? And
I think I've got the fascism.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got
traditionalism, anti-progress, anti-intellectualism.
We're at stage 7 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah. Well, especially if you narrow it down to the Republicans, they're already.
See, this is what, man. I swear to God, this is where my stroke was coming.
Okay.
Is that I'm not going to anymore say that either one of our ruling parties is better than the other one, because the core of both of those parties aids and abets the other, right?
Sure.
You could say that Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, etc., Bernie Sanders, you could say that they are pushing against the core of their party but they are a minority that is powerless except in the realm of culture, which is how that shit has always gone, right? The most left liberal fucking people in any federal governing body are always pushing against the tide of their own party, right?
Yeah.
And so, with the exception of the few of them that are that, everyone else is the fucking same. They don't. I can't anymore. Like, and this isn't to say that I'm some fucking third party, let's vote libertarian, good fucking Green Party asshole. Like, fuck them. They didn't do the job, right? Libertarians are just stupider Republicans, and Green Party people are just losers. Win.
Yeah.
Win if you fucking want. Like, it's like, if you want the pragmatist who thinks that we're already fascist and who fucking is doomed and thinks it's all hopeless and fucking who gives a shit, let's let it be done with. That's what I'm saying. It's like, fuck voting, fuck the institutions. Let them all be captured by the fascists, because it's already basically happened. And if it happens in this public-facing way that is in name, right? That's just that couple of inches more. Then maybe that'll get people to start f***ing politicians, which is what needs to happen.
The saddest part of the whole thing is that they're doing it in the name of Judaism, when the last, biggest, most well-known genocide that's ever happened was
outside of the Native Americans.
Yeah, I mean, the real one that people think of when they think of genocide, the number one.
The first one. The one that where the term was invented.
Yeah, the Holocaust. And then only a few decades later, you have a fascist government in the state of Israel using Judaism or Zionism or whatever you want to call it as a justification for an apartheid state.
Against Muslims.
Yeah,
that's the fucking stupid part. Muslims and Jews are the fucking same. What the fuck? Like, dude, you're all descendants of Abraham.
Yeah, it's
get the fuck, like,
all these
Christians and Jews hating Muslims is the fucking dumbest shit in the world.
They're all different flavors of the same Kool-Aid,
bro.
But can't convince of the whole world population of that, but that's
you can convince a dude that was raised Christian with a Jewish last name. Okay, like it's like, and this is the thing, right? It's like okay, so then you get into like whatever, like fucking Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris type territory.
Well,
it's like, well, but Islam is the worst one. Right?
I don't like going into that kind of territory because you're dumb. You're missing the whole point.
Well, and but the whole point would be, right? Okay, well, but out of those three religions that are the same, which one has been getting fucked the most for the longest? Is it the Muslims? Oh, yes. They're mad? Oh, they're mad about that? Oh, they want to fucking, do terrorism and fucking whatever. They want to convince children to blow themselves up. Why? Why would that be?
It's almost like they were radicalized.
It's almost like the fucking Jews have been sitting on like the Temple Mount or whatever, and the fucking Christians have the Catholic Church, and together they stole all the money ever, and so now and now there's evangelicals on top of that. Oh boy,
yeah.
Who do they live to fuck with? Muslims. And it's like so for everybody that's like, well, but Islam is it's like, you go fucking live in fucking Syria, dude. Like, you're gonna cling to anything. If you're getting fucked that hard, you're gonna cling to anything that's around.
You're also, I feel like that gets into this like kind of like moral relativism kind of bullshit. But really, at the end of the day, all of this shit is the result of global politics, colonialism, and imperialism. And if you're like to say that the
religion is
it's actually the religion. It's not even the religion.
Yeah.
They fucking took over the Middle East after throughout World War I, World War II, that whole era, they fucking colonized the shit out of that whole place. And it's not because they were Muslim, it was because they were brown people that were, less civilized than us with our guns and machinery.
It's all the British, and their church is not even real.
It's all fucking bullshit. The whole thing is all bullshit, and the fact that nowadays we it's all this focus on religion. It's all about religion now. But at the end of the day, it's groups of people fucking with each other, and the religion part really doesn't have anything to do with it.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Dude, this just got me. Right? So who did the most colonizing and raping and pillaging throughout the world? The English. Okay. What's their church? Do they have their own special one? Because they do.
The Church of England, which gives the Queen the sovereign.
No, dude. It's even worse. It's just that fucking their Catholic king couldn't get divorced. So he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll make a religion, and then I'll cut this bitch's head off, and then I'll marry this bitch and cut her head off. That's the guy that invented that religion. It's even stupider. It's like Scientology, right? It's like Scientology only like a couple hundred years before.
Or Mormon, yeah.
Yeah, or Mormonism.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's just like, I don't like my bitch wife, so one of them wanted to kill, one of them wanted more wives,
Scientology and like Mormonism, at least they have the benefit of like being weird, right? Like it's like that's a weird like whatever, you believe that some guy got handed stone tablets from an angel that doesn't exist, and he got magic glasses to read the tablets, or this guy's such a genius that he figured out the secret of psychiatry, and that's why psychiatrists are evil, or what, it's like. If you look at Scientology and Mormonism, they at least came up with something creative, okay? Yeah. The Anglican Church is literally one fucking king deciding that he didn't like what was going on. And so I'm going to make it in my own image. He's Jesus.
Which king was that?
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII, that's right, yeah.
And that's fucking dumb. Yeah. That's so dumb. If you're fucking British and you go to church and you go to the Anglican Church, if anyone in the fucking world goes to an Anglican church, like, fuck off. Your opinion does not count. At least the Muslims and the Jews and some of the Christians, right, have like a thing that happened for a long, long time, and they were persecuted for that thing, and they believed that thing for thousands of years, and blah, 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 right? Like, At least you have that. But the Anglicans, the Mormons, the fucking Scientologists, anything that came after like Shakespeare. Let's just pick a random, like anything that came after like fucking, one of those fucking Catholic British poets, like John Milton. We still read his ass, dude. Fuck out of here.
There's always been like different civilizations that fight against each other, from talking about Native Americans or European tribes or whatever before the countries were formed. But like, there's always been people fighting against each other. But the idea of like dominating an entire continent with your culture or whatever, like
conquering.
Europeans really were the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
British Empire specifically.
But it's also time, because like Native Americans in all of the Americas had less time to like get to know the land and everything and the resources and whatever and build up their civilizations, because of the amount of time they inhabited the Americas was less time.
So, there's
like, you're just not gonna
if you cross the land bridge into the Americas, like that's only like 10,000 years.
Exactly.
Whereas if you fucking came out of the primordial soup and then walked to Greenland from when Africa was one giant continent, right? It's like that's another that's another million years or whatever on top of that.
Yeah, and then it's kind of subjective when you talk about what's actually progress versus what's just frivolous.
Of course, yeah.
Like like the Native American way of life was fine the way it was. They didn't need machinery and fucking factories and guns and shit until it was all introduced from the outside, and then all of a sudden, oh well, maybe we need this now because this is the way the world is or whatever. And it's global capitalism and imperialism and everything kind of forcing its way into every
and it all
world. But it's not necessarily that's
the Dutch getting spices.
Yeah, because the meat was going bad.
Oh yeah.
The meat does not taste so good 3 weeks out.
This meat is gross. We've got to go kill Indians.
Salting meats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, same.